Hey, it's Gabriel from Native Media. We systematize client acquisition for gym owners and studio owners to get them to finally get their time back and also become financially free. Now, I'm going to talk to you guys about a crucial problem that I hear every single day. Whether it's on sales calls with clients, it's about the leads quality. Whether it's coming from ads or people coming into the gym, you really find out that, okay, I'm running ads, or I'm running any form of customer acquisition systems, but the leads suck. Like they don't want to stay, they just want to do a free trial. And whenever I try to selling them something, they say, oh, I'm going to think about it. They come back, well, they say they're going to come back, but they never do. So what I'm going to do in this video is share with you an exact system, an exact science that you can use in order to make sure that all the dollars you're putting into advertising or whatever endeavors you're doing to do customer acquisition is well spent and that you get a crazy return on investment. Stay until the end because you really need to have an understanding of the whole thing, and I'm going to guarantee you that at the end of this video, I know how valuable the time is, you're going to have a complete understanding of this system from A to Z. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to write on my phone right here so you guys can see exactly what I'm meaning, and also I can better explain the points I have. So we got to think about this on a few angles. First of all, we got to understand what friction is. So what is friction actually? Because when we think about it, a qualified lead is somebody that just meets different numbers of criteria we have, meaning we know there are certain demographics, certain age, there are certain income, and all those things like this. And so how can we make sure somebody that, well, doesn't meet those criteria, we check them, or at least we don't know, we check them and see, okay, does that person actually looks like my dream client or not? Is actually by adding friction to the system, meaning you have a lot of people coming into your funnel right here, and the more friction you add, the less people, less qualified, are gonna stay until the end, if that makes sense. So what we want to do is make sure we understand friction and how to use it properly so we can actually control whether we put more people into the funnel or whether we reduce the flow, or we make sure that the people that go through are the most qualified. And I'm going to show you exactly later down the road which systems you can exactly use to actually make sure that the people coming into the end stay qualified and they are the perfect fit for you. First of all, you got to understand that you have two extremes right here. You've got a side that's frictionless, where pretty much everybody is interested in whatever you have to say. And you've got the other side, which is full of friction, but not a lot of people are coming in, but they are extremely, extremely qualified. And there are good and bad sides to each and every one of those sides. The thing is, here you have a lot of people. So I'm going to do a little stick man right here. What you have is you have a lot of those people. Meaning here, whenever you have actually people coming in the door, they come in a lot of numbers. The problem is here, they're not as qualified as you would like them to be. But here, you have fewer people coming into the doors, but they are the perfect fit for you. But the problem is you don't have a lot of them. So each side has their good and their bad side. I'm a big believer into what we call non-binary thinking. So what is it? Don't worry, it's all gonna make sense. What if, let's have a crazy idea, let's be in an imaginary world really quick. What if we could actually get the best of this side right here and this side right here and come right into the middle and have a perfect balance of the right number of people, but those guys are actually the perfect fit for you. Sounds interesting, right? And it's exactly the way I think about the campaigns we run with our clients and how we get them crazy results. Don't pick a side. Never pick a side. What you do is you understand the two extremes, the dichotomy there is, and you go right into the middle and you see how you can go and apply those two strategies and make sure you find a perfect balance into it, adjust it depending on the situation, potentially the promotion, the season, and you run with it. That way, you can actually get the best results. So now that you know this, I'm going to go into my next point, which is extremely important, and you're going to know exactly how it goes together and how you can use it in a practical way. Let's say you're going to the supermarket. If you look at the ads that supermarket does, what do? Well, they go ahead and they do promotions like, hey, free stuff, big deals, big discounts, thing that appeals to a lot of people. So if we take a look at the graph we had previously, it should go around, okay, talking to as many people as possible. Of course, you're not going to get the people with the most amount of money, but you're going to get a lot of people in, so that's for sure. So that's kind of the first side of the equation. Then you get the second side. Let's take another wild extreme on the other side. Let's take buying a Bugatti, for example. Go ahead and try to buy a Bugatti. Don't even know if that's the right way to write it, but you get the idea. I'm not going to try to draw a car because It's not gonna be pretty. But let's say you want to buy a Bugatti, right, really quick. You probably have like a, I don't know how many months, even years probably of waiting list to actually get to buy you. There is a whole list. People have to call in, and actually that's the store that's qualifying the guys, the buyers, to actually come and buy the car. So if you see right here, you have a lot of demand, but there is so much friction added to the process. But the thing is, here it works for them, but let's say if the supermarkets were trying to actually do the same thing, wouldn't work for them, right? And let's also inverse the process. Let's say that Bugatti tried to sell the Bugattis to everybody. Like, it wouldn't work as well for them as well. So as you can see, this is really about striking the balance depending on your business and where you should be standing. Now, where should a gym or a fitness studio stand in all of this spectrum? I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like for you guys. So first and foremost, you gotta understand one thing. I would rather prefer for you guys to do this approach rather than the later. Because one thing that I hear and that I see a lot of gym owners making the mistake of is they don't want to go and have bad lead quality, so they go with a full friction process, and that adds a lot of friction into it. And the thing is, they don't get a lot of leads, and then they're like, oh shit, I spent all my marketing budget into a campaign, but I didn't get anybody. Even though I got a few leads, they weren't as good as I hoped to, but I just got not a lot of leads that I thought would be qualifying, but it weren't that qualified as I thought actually. And that's the biggest mistake I see gym owners make, is that they try and run a campaign from the get-go that's gonna have a lot of friction, like a ton of friction, and it's gonna basically get their results to the ground. But the thing is, you don't have enough data yet to know exactly how to run this campaign properly. Because, to be honest, it depends on a lot of factors. Locations, demographics that you have in your location. It depends also on the type of gyms that you are running, the season, what types of promotion, and also the environment. For example, we're in a bit of a kind of recession crisis right now. How do people respond to ads, and how do you apply friction to certain points works totally different to other periods. So you got to be aware of all those things, and the best way to know exactly how to do those things is to get a lot of data. In marketing, data is everything. That's how we base decision. We never function on feelings, we work on data. So how do we actually get data? Well, to actually get data, you need to have a large enough pool of numbers first, because if you don't, well, you're kind of putting decisions out of your, you know what, and you're trying to throw something at the wall and see if it sticks. I would rather you keep your money rather than doing this, let's say. So how do we go about this? I would always advise to actually go first with a more frictionless approach, which is going to get you a lot of people, and I'm going to show you exactly the best way for you to do that without sacrificing lead quality too much. But that way you can actually get a lot of data. And then what we do after this, we add the friction. So that's after this, because it's way easier to have a better idea of, okay, I've got a lot of data and I know exactly what my market is all about and how the campaign works. Now I can add little by little friction, see where it stands on the scale. Oh, I went a bit too much here, should go a bit more on the other side, and then whenever the season change or you see that, okay, maybe I should go a bit on the other direction, you can then readjust. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense for you guys. If it does, make sure that you leave a comment, because I want to make sure that those videos make sense so we can actually help you guys to run your campaigns and get better results with them. All right? So after this, where do we go about that? Extremely simple. So the question is then, when do we add or release friction? I'm going to show you after that exactly examples of in your ad, in your funnels, in your sales process, where you can add and where you can release friction and how you can implement those strategies. But when do we actually implement those things? Well, what I would do if I was running a campaign and I was actually seeing, okay, this could benefit from a little bit more friction, I would go ahead and I would get the data that we have and I would see, okay, where is the bottleneck? So if we take a look at your funnel, for example, we always work with bottlenecks, meaning that you've got a funnel right here. And we are going to take a look at, okay, is it at the ad level, if you are running ads? Is it at the funnel level, for example, that we could add something? Or is it at the sales process? Meaning that whenever somebody is coming to the gym, where can we see that, okay, we could do something about that? And typically, let's say that you spot it into the, let's say that, for example, you spot that your ads are doing good. So you see that the people that are coming in from the ads, right feedback, right kind of people that you are getting, really good. But you still see that at your sales process, something is not right. Therefore, typically, we gotta look at the previous step. So if you see at your sales process, typically it's gonna be one of the steps before that. Now, the key, it's really important to, as I told you guys, to watch your data depending on your CTR, depending on your click-through rate, depending on all those things, and on the feedback that you get whenever people are coming into the gym. You got to deduct, okay, is it something that I can fix at the ad level? Is the creative that we're doing or the copy that we're doing a bit too appealing to a lot of people? Should we kind of address a more specific kind of prospect? And that's where you actually see, okay, should we change this? Should we change that? And also, make sure that you change only, really important, one thing at a time. Focus on changing one thing. Because if you're changing multiple things, you're never going to know which one moved the needle. So if you want to really make sure that you know and have control of the whole process, make sure that you control and change nothing but one variable. That way, you're going to be sure that you know exactly what changed, the results that you're going to get, and therefore you know what's going to put you into the right direction and what's going to not do that. So now I'm going to show you at the 3 levels that I previously talked about, at the ad level, at the funnel level, and during the sales process that's in your gym. All the processes that you can use to relieve friction or to add some more, depending on the things that you are seeing in your data. So if you take a look at the little notes I wrote, one of the better things that we like to do to get a lot of volume in with ads is actually do a free promotion. So promoting something free, like, you know, like a free session, free 7 to 10 day trial. I'm not going to say free 6-week trial because we all know about those things, you know. After this, what you can do is actually you can do a broader targeting, meaning that you are targeting kind of just the city without putting any interest into that. That's a good way to actually get a lot of volume in. And also, if you run lead form ads, we typically see that lead form ads on Facebook, when you are doing lead generation, get you a lot more results because it's integrated in Facebook. Now, however, typically when you're running this, you get a lot of lead quality, but again, the lead quality, you're not getting, a lot of lead quantity, but the quality oftentimes is not the best. But after that, I'm going to show you a little trick that what we use, and we typically see, again, the approach right in the middle that's getting us the best results. And it's not what you think, but I'm going to show you what exactly it is. So then we have the second category, so headache friction right here. So if we take, of course, you can go further than that, but I'm giving you an example so you guys can see, okay, we have 2 polarized things, and it's never like 2 extremes. I'm just giving you something that's a bit more on the side of, okay, I'm adding friction, but you definitely can add some more or add some less, depending on what it is. I'm just giving you inspiration right here. So, for example, instead of free, you can do discounts, for example. A lot less people are going to come in, but they're actually going to be willing to invest money into that. So that's interesting because now, if we think about it, would there be a way to actually, and there are ways actually for you guys to see, okay, how can I actually get, I know I'm going to get less volume than a free offer because I'm running a discount instead of a free offer. However, if you're smart with it, you can definitely get a lot of volume in, pretty much the same volume, but with a discounted offer. So therefore you're going to get a better lead quality, but without actually, you know, sacrificing a lot of money you're going to get on the front end, and also you're going to be able to get a better lead quality, so you're going to have members that are going to actually pay, stay long time, and yeah, that you're going to love basically. So this is what I'm showing you. It's exactly how to strike that balance. And you got to test and see what works, what kind of offers, depending on the gym that you're running, and it really depends on you. But first of all, as I told you in the previous steps, you got to make sure you get your data on point. Now, discount offers, that's an option. Now, targeted interest, that's specifically true if, for example, you're a PT studio that's training athletes, for example. I'm not going to run ads to broad targeting. That doesn't make sense. What I could be doing is I'm going to run an ad for athletes. Maybe I'm going to run an ad to people that went to a certain college, for example. That's some form of targeting. Some people that like a certain interest, for example, that are athletes or interested in certain other, let's say, sports centers in the cities. Some things like this that you guys can use, or maybe age targeting. You can do something like this, playing with that. That depends on your audience, but that's another way to add friction to the process. Then what you can do is you can also make them go to a landing page instead using a lead form. You are definitely going to get less volume, but because you add friction and people actually have to click a link, go to an external website, and actually make sure your landing page is working properly, well, you're going to get a lot less volume, but it's going to be better quality. And then, again, as you can see here, if you get a good landing page, a great one that actually converts a lot, you can still get a lot of volume in, but by having a better quality. So again, it's all about striking the balance at each and every step, which I'm going to show you after this. And also, little tip that we use, and that works pretty well actually, is still using a lead form, but using custom fields instead of the automatic first name, last name fields that you typically see. Because, well, the thing is with Facebook ads, if you're using a typical lead form, what you're going to get is that people are going to be auto-filling the thing, meaning that whenever they're going to click more interested, their names, emails, and phone numbers are going to be automatically filled. So it's extremely easy, there is no friction, meaning you're going to get a lot of leads. But even sometimes those emails are bad, phone numbers as well, so it's quite hard to get a high lead quality with this. So if you do this, you still see how we are right in the middle and actually aligning the two extremes right here. We just went a little bit further, a lot less further than the landing page option, but we are still here. We just had a little bit of friction by making them actually type their name, phone number, and email. We're gonna have less people, but definitely those guys are gonna give us great emails, phone numbers that we can then use in order to contact them. So that are some ways that you can use at the ad level. Now I'm gonna show you exactly what it looks like on the landing page level. Now on the landing page, what are we looking at? Well, we have, if we want to decrease the amount of friction that we have, we can definitely use some images plus lead form, like a simple put the images on the left and then you have your lead form on the right with as fewer as you can like fields to fill up. The less fields you have, the more people are going to go through. Now, if we go again in the other direction in adding the more friction, we have 3 other options and there are plenty more, but I'm just giving you some examples right here. So you can do a video, for example. That way you're gonna have people that are looking into the video, they're gonna be pumped, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, that looks cool. But a lot less people are gonna actually take a look at the whole video than the people that are just gonna watch the image. So less people are gonna go through there, but if you put the right video in there to show the right kind of intent that you want people to actually go to the next step, actually you're gonna get a better lead quality. So also you can add more fields, for example. Okay, so maybe an address, or maybe are you a resident, or are you somebody that's just coming and visiting, something like this, for example. That can add a bit more friction, but it can give you better lead quality, especially at this step. So it's pretty helpful to add so. And also, if you want to really add, actually it's plus plus plus. If you want to add a lot of friction but get extremely qualified people, you can put an application form here. So basically people have to qualify themselves and apply. That can be great, again, if you have a PT studio that you want to use and you want to get people in, but you want to make sure that those people are coming with you are making people come with the right intentions and also the right profiles. This is definitely a strategy that I would be using. And then we go into the sales part, meaning that whenever somebody actually books an appointment and show up, how do you actually make sure that this person, okay, is more qualified or not? You can actually have and play with a few levers. Again, some of the ones that were on top of my mind right now. So you can go for a free for low to get offer, for example, a free trial, something like this. You'll definitely get a lot of people that are gonna go for that. But you know, maybe not the most qualified sometimes. But if you do that at the ad level or the landing page level, you can actually get that amount of people that are coming in that are more qualified there, and then you can go with a pretty easy close, if that makes sense. It really depends on the way you can go about this. And again, there is no right answer. There is just a one that you can find with the data that you've got. That's really the point of this video, that you understand this. Now, you can also use downsells. For example, if you have an offer that's running at the moment and people are like, yeah, but I'm not sure, I don't have the money yet. If you have a list of other offers that are lower investment, a lower money amount, for example, you can definitely direct them to that and you're gonna have a higher close rate with this thing. So that's another way to limit friction and make sure that you can get as many people in the door as possible. On the other side, you have questionnaires, for example. So let's say you let somebody sit at actually you go through a questionnaire with them, and based on certain criteria, as we would or wouldn't work with them, that's a way you can do so. You can also go with upsells, for example, directly go for a yearly membership or a 6-month commitment, for example, something like that. If you go directly to this, for example, let's say you run an offer, you get 2 months free, you advertise this, so you can get a lot of volume in, but whenever they come into the sales systems, well, the 2 months free is only if they get a yearly membership. So therefore, you're going to get a lot more people coming in through the ads, but you're going to get less people actually getting a membership because you had a bit more friction. It's just at a point where I'm more committed. So as you can see, there is no right answers. I'm just giving you options that you can pick and use at your liking. And also, yeah, you can go for an high ticket front-end offer. That's also an option. But yeah, it depends on whatever you want to use and all the options that are available to you. By the way, there are a ton more options and you can definitely go 100 directions, but I want to make sure that you understand the main point of this video is that there are no right answers. You need to be testing and making sure based on your data and all the things that you've got that this is the right decision for you. So pick and choose whatever strategy that I described in this video and make sure that you apply them correctly. And by the way, if you are struggling with customer acquisition, there is a link in the video. I don't want you to click it. If you just enjoy this video, that's totally cool. But yeah, if you're struggling with this and want to get more customers that are qualified, well, more leads that are qualified, I should say, well, you can click the link. But if you don't, I don't mind. Hope you like this video, and yeah, give a like if you liked it, and subscribe is going to give YouTube better recommendations so you guys can actually get better videos like this one. And I want to truly thank you for your time because I know how valuable it is. Have a good one, and I see you on the next one.